on YouTube as well, Katarina?
Well, the plan is mainly to record for the purpose of a synthesis report. We want to really, gather every information from this meeting, but then we will also put just the presentations, your presentations on YouTube, on results presentations. But I don't think we will have the whole meeting, the entire meeting on YouTube.
Good. Okay, that's good to know. So with that, I think we are 66 participants at the moment, and I will start the meeting. Maybe some more will come in later on. So I will start by saying welcome to this final event for the projects funded by JPI Urban Europe, Belmont Forum, and the European Commission's call for sustainable urbanization initiatives to build knowledge and develop solutions on the topic of the food, water, and energy nexus. Present here on this digital platform today are funders, other interested partners, stakeholders, and most importantly, representatives for many of the projects that have been working hard on this complex matter for the last 3-4 years. We are very happy to see so many of you on this final event for this ambitious collaboration on urban research and innovation. So here you see the program for today. I think we will have a slide on that.
Do you see the instructions? Do you see a...
Yes, I see. So you can rename yourself, as we just said, adding your SUGI project's name, if applicable, after your name. And please stay muted when you are not in breakout group or speaking in plenary. And when we have breaks, we want you to stay in the meeting. To make things simple, just turn off video to signal that you are not at the screen, that you are unavailable. And when you get back from the break, please turn on your video so we know you're there. And use the chat as much as you wish. Please tick all participants when sending messages. And write Caroline host if you have technical issues. Your facilitators in the breakouts will share needed links with you in the chat. And
that's for tomorrow.
Yeah. So, so I am the moderator here today. My name is Mari Solere. I'm used to be the chair of the JPI Urban Europe Governing Board, and I'm very happy to moderate this final event, the first day. So with this, I think we will have a little bit of warming up before we go on to the serious matters. So if we, where are you from here? Do you see your country? And what, yeah. So, and with this, could we please have everyone, can we see everyone, do you see everyone at the same time? Because we will have a waving session here. All of you who were present at the kickoff meeting in London 2018, could you please wave your hands? Oh, I can see a lot of waving. And so not from the ones who don't have the cameras on though. And then those of you who were present at the digital midterm event for the SUGI call in 2020, please wave your hands. Oh, that's good. I see many more putting on their videos now. That's great, great. And I think that was it for the waving. And but we had some exercises in London. Those of you who participated in the kickoff meeting were asked to say what their expectations were using a Menti poll. And here you can see what your expectations were then. Now you can grab your phones or your laptops again, looking at what was said the last time. And find menti.com And this time, you can also use your camera to get straight into the app here. And you can write, what we want you to write is keywords of how you feel about this collaboration today, to see whether there's a link here, something has changed. So please go into the browser or use this, use your camera. And what are you feeling? We want keywords, not long dissertations. We want keywords for your feelings after the whole process is now reaching the end. I think your input will make a cloud, and it's going to be interesting to see whether there are some tendencies. Are we getting a live feed?
Kajsa, will you
Yes.
share?
Yeah, hopefully you can see it now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we are getting there. Oh, sunny.
There we go.
Fantastic. Oh, there's so many good vibes here. Sunny, excited, collaboration. Still very busy. Oh, not finished yet. Inspired. Oh, I like that one. Group sport, cooperation experience, disappointment. Oh no. Positive friendships. Tired. That's allowed as well. Excited to learn, disappointment. Complex. I can see that. Challenging. Yeah. Yeah. Zoom fatigue is not surprising. I think we all feel a little bit of that, Nicole says in the chat. Awesome, satisfied, connected, collaboration. Oh, let's see who wins in the end. There's a lot about excited, and I think maybe that's for the day, or is it about the results? Okay, I think the winners are collaboration, excited, inspired, connected. Thank you so much for your input. Great. I can see there's good, both comments for good and for bad. Before we go on to setting the scene for today's agenda, I would like to give the floor to the Chair of the Management Board of JPI Urban Europe, Margaret NOLL, for her to say some words to us all.
All right. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. I'm quite happy to see so many projects attending and so many familiar faces that have been part of our journey over the last years in many events and many workshops and online webinars, and some new faces where we hope we can learn more about the results of the SUGI projects. I think with today and tomorrow, quite an adventure and an experiment comes to an end. Right? When we started the SUGI cooperation, it was a test on various and an experiment on various levels. It was the international cooperation with the Belmont Forum for the first time to really open up our calls for international consortia. It was embarking on a quite complex topic on the food, water, energy nexus, with trying to understand how these different sectors and somehow silos go together, what it means in terms of research and opportunities and conflicts, and drive this particular development from an integrated perspective. So in different regards, this was also an experiment from our side from the program itself to see how are we capable of dealing with this complexity, how are we capable of realizing international cooperation, how can we deal with the transdisciplinarity in this complex setting of food, water, energy nexus. And we followed some of your project quite closely. You have engaged in some of you in many workshops, so we learned a bit already. And I think today is a very good opportunity to learn more about the results. on different ends, right? There are achievements that you have, maybe also failures, as some of you may be disappointed, you just mentioned that. So we also need to understand what it was, right? What we maybe could have done better in terms of supporting you or in facilitating these dialogues, also in how we set up the call and dealing with these complex matters. But on the other hand, you have been experiencing quite a challenging time when implementing the projects with the pandemic situation, when all the stakeholder involvement was not possible in the traditional way anymore, where you had to shift your methods and your activities in different ways. Also, that is an important learning for us to understand how we can continue. It is the opportunity to engage these various stakeholders, farmers or planners from different points of view, different target groups in the food, water, energy nexus that will inspire us and help us to learn how we can build upon these experiences, what we can advance in terms of the program to build upon these projects. So today is really important for us to take note of what has been achieved, what didn't work out that well, what your experiences are on content, cooperation, international outreach, communication on different ends, so that we can learn with you together how to advance that. And maybe one last word, and I will talk more on that tomorrow, is that SUGI also helped us to build a new part of our community that now forms hopefully a cornerstone for the new program to come. Right? So we will continue related to this circularity issue, greening, connected to food, water, energy nexus also in the future. So you helped us to build a community to start into that complex setting. And there is more that you can look out for. There is more to come. It was not just a one-time shot. And we now move on to other topics, but this will stay as an important element also in our future program. So with that, we're closing somehow this journey of the SUGI calls and consortium, but we are building upon that also in the future. And that's why I'm very much looking forward to learn from your results and learn how it felt for you, how you were dealing with the challenges at hand, and what conclusions you can give us also on the overall program development. So I'm very much looking forward to what you have to say today, giving you the room to share experiences, and then let's also carry on with that. I think I will hand over to Mari and leave it with this.
Thank you so much for these words, Margaret. It's very nice. So with this, it is time to set the scene for today. To do that, I need help from 3 individuals who have played crucial roles in making the SUGI call happen. Will Daniela Melandri, Jonas Bylund, and Cornelia Forshuber please turn on your cameras and microphones, please.
Hello, nice being here today.
Hello, nice having you here.
Hello, hello everyone.
Hello.
Nice to be here.
Good afternoon.
So, could maybe then we have our, yes, would it be possible for if everyone except for Daniela, Jonas, and Cornelia take off their cameras, and then we will see them on the screen together, because there's so many people in this meeting. So, hello. Setting the scene for today, we will get to know better many different ways of dealing with the food, where we will get to know the food, water, energy nexus through the very first presentations. First, very short presentations first, and then more in depth. But we will hopefully have room for comments and questions. Before that, we will talk to Daniela, Jonas, and Cornelia. Welcome to you first, Daniela Melandri from Innovate UK, which is a part of UK's Research Council, UKRI, and you are the coordinator of the SUGI Food, Water, Energy Initiative. And welcome to you, Jonas Bylund, member of the Expert Committee on Innovation and Impact Delivery, ECIID, and for many years, the scientific advisor and a key person in JPI Urban Europe's management board. And finally, welcome to you, Cornelia Forshuber from Urban Future City Changers. You are chief editor of citychangers.org, a knowledge hub focusing on the question, how can I drive change in cities? Very suitable here. So Cornelia's team has been collaborating with JPI Urban Europe as communication advisors and content producers, specifically focusing on translating the core messages of the Nexus from the academic sphere into practical hands-on knowledge, which is, that's hard work. Kudos to that. And your goal in this context has been to make the Nexus tangible and carve out how to get started with its implementation in cities. So I would like to start with you, Cornelia, as you have made serious efforts to translate the call aims and outcomes into comprehensible words. How would you describe the SUGI Nexus approach to someone working in a city context?
Thank you, Mari, for this nice introduction. I'm glad to be here today. So if I were to speak to somebody in a city, of course, it's about how do I make it tangible? How do I put it into practice? So to someone working in a city, I would explain that the Nexus at its core is really about understanding how water, food, and energy in an urban context are connected. So it's about efficient, sustainable resource management. It's about closing loops. And it's really about how do I make a city more resilient by doing that? Because if you think about it, resources are finite and Earth population is growing. So more and more people are becoming part of middle class. And with that comes need and demands. And we need to become more efficient with the resources we have. So food, water, and energy to serve this growing population. And since a lot of this will happen in cities, of course, this is where we need to take action. And here, the Nexus really helps us understand the interdependencies of water, food, and energy systems. And as a city, the better we understand them, the better we can align efforts of different departments to reach common goals. And just by thinking together, food, water, and energy, what we really talk about for me is collaboration and communication. So these are really essentials when it comes to, it's really a matter of a city basically serving its citizens. So this is how I would frame it to someone working in a city, look at the interdependencies and focus on collaboration and communication.
Thank you. Then I turn to you, Daniela. You are the coordinator here. And why is it so important, do you think, to solve the food, water, energy nexus using an integrated approach? Why has this been the key issue of this SUGI call?
Yeah, we started in 2015 when this was at a very initial stage of conversation, and I think during the years we have it's clear even from how what we're seeing right now, what's happening around us, that we cannot keep thinking in silos. We must think at systemic level. And when we think at systemic level, the three aspects of food, energy, and water are interconnected by definition between themselves. So if one misses, clearly the other ones will be compromised. And that's an obvious kind of assumption and definition. But sometimes when it comes to management in terms of the city, and as Cornelia just mentioned, resource management, it's not as obvious as it has been in the past. So I think it's really, really important now that we look into this, as our projects have done, from a systemic point of view, and we really value the interconnectivity between those three aspects. And in this interconnectivity, there is even an infrastructure concept that has to be considered. The city itself doesn't work without the environment and the ecosystem around itself, and that's where the interconnection between the food, energy, and the water stands. And even our projects have shown how these interconnections work in many cases. So more than ever, it's really, really important to look into a systemic approach rather than silos.
Yes, thank you for that. I want to ask you another question at the same time. I believe the Nexus approach was quite new when you developed SUGI call. Is it still new today?
Yes, as I mentioned, it was quite new when we started, and I remember there was this study that we really looked into from a German university, which was probably one of the few at the point. But now, yes, it's very how can I say, we can't really continue to think, as I mentioned already, into verticals, but we need to think horizontally, and so it's fundamental. What we're living right now in this specific moment of time shows that an energetic crisis will be a food crisis and will be a water crisis. So it will be an economical humanitarian crisis overall. So the importance between the interconnection of the three, I think it's a no-brainer, and the projects have nailed down these relationships really well. And it's very interesting to see what the results and how it all connects with human beings, because that's the kind of the last bit of the nexus, the citizens. And it's fascinating to see how this has been deployed by the projects.
Okay, thank you. Jonas, from your perspective, we turn to you. What can we expect to happen if cities pursue to implement the Nexus approach? How do you see that?
Well, thanks again for having me here, and thanks for that question. I think let's say on a more conceptual abstract level, of course, they will increase their chances and our chances thereby to reach the Sustainable Development Goals, because that's a clear example of why we need the Nexus approach, as Cornelia and Daniela mentioned, the kind of integrated approach. It's not just that we need it in general, but it's actually for these kinds of goals. Also, you mentioned that it's not new. Well, many cities today may need to develop, if we take one example, donut economies or city donuts, that's kind of an area where you need to have that integrated approach very clearly. And I think that's where we will see the real relevance of what we have seen in the projects here, and the kind of prototypical way of working with urban nexi in different ways, or for urban nexi, perhaps is better. Cities or city authorities, city governance settings, urban contexts will probably have to learn a lot more around working together in these ways. And it might sound very flowery, kind of nice, and co-creation is happy-go-lucky. It isn't. It's a lot of friction, and there's a lot of things we still don't know how to do across these sectors. So I think that's why we have these important thematic back in 2015, and even today it's become increasingly important that we all learn how to work in this way, I would say, in general, and a bit conceptual.
Okay, thank you, Jonas. With this, I'll go back to you, Cornelia, with a question to finish off this setting the scene session of the program. How can cities start off using the Nexus approach, really in practical matters? How would you start off?
Very good question. Of course, it's a huge task. And as it is with all huge tasks, I think it's very important that you're not overwhelmed by the size of the task, but you really take it step by step. And so the first step that I would always recommend is to evaluate the status quo. So where does my city stand with its food, water, and energy management? Where are the strengths? Where are the weaknesses? Where is the biggest need for action, really? And since the Nexus is all about how these three systems, three topics, and well, in a city context, the three departments are interrelated. Of course, as I said before, collaboration and communication is key. So my next step would be to define, okay, who do I need to involve? Who do I need to get on board? How do I get all of these people, these stakeholders at a table to discuss it? So this could be a working group, could be a coordinator between departments, but it's really about collaborating and communicating what is really essential. Because as has been said before, also by Daniela, it's still often the case that departments work as silos. So the water department, the energy department, maybe agriculture department, they all set their own goals. And doing that in silos, what does this result in? Very often these goals really undermine each other, and this is where the Nexus comes in, and this is what the Nexus wants to break up. And this is why I think it's very important to collaborate and really get everybody at a table to align the targets, to set up an action plan, and then actually get started with the actions. But it's always first evaluation and then coming together and bringing the right people together at a table.
Thank you, Cornelia. And with this, I think we will set stop to this setting the scene sessions. Thank you so much to Jonas, to Daniela, and to Cornelia.
Thanks a lot.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
If we were in plenary, we would give them a round of applause, but you can feel it in your hearts, I'm sure. And now it's time, the scene is set, and it's time to dive into the core of the matter, which is the speed presentations of the projects. You will all have 3 minutes. All the projects will have 3 minutes, but as there are so many, we have divided it into 2 groups. But no worries, you will be able to see the group you're not in present their projects as well, because we will record both sessions and put them on YouTube. So you can go there to see it afterwards, and we will send you the link by email. So no worries, you will see everything. But now, first, we will be put into 2 groups. I will share the one, and I think Caroline will share the other one. And what were the practical matters here? Yes. So you will see that you see the list, and you will we will make a control that everyone is in the good room, and we will record. And I think Kaisa, you will send a message when we are supposed to close. And we don't go into the plenary before exactly, I think, at 4:12. Yes, and then we will have a break after that. So see you soon in the group.
Yes, so I'll open the rooms.
And you all will be automatically, the ones who are leaving this room to go to another room should be automatically sent there.
We have to accept an invite on our screen, but yeah, then we go there.
And do you find them, or do you have to go down on more?
No,
to find
it just
break?
popped up now, so I'm gonna go into group 2. See you
and send
later.
us a smoke signal if you're ready.
Sorry, were you just asking for me then? Do I start now?
Oh, wait, let's see. I'm going to share your...
Where we are now, that's the question.
Screen. So, Marie, do you want to see if everyone is here? All the speakers are here that should be here.
I want to see. Could you help me check, maybe?
Yeah, is Susan here?
Yeah, I'm here.
And Pia? Pia Labar?
She.
I can see her.
You can see her?
Yes.
Good.
Okay.
And Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Yeah, and Bernd? Clara?
I'm here.
Correct. And Yibing Chan?
Yes, we're here.
Great. And Ali Hanuing? Great. And Thomas Spiegelhalter?
Yes, I'm here. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do. Good.
Good.
That's great.
Everything
Now
is
we're all
good.
here. We can start. And the way we do this, you're supposed to have like 3 minutes, but I will put my timer in 2.5 minutes. And when you hear this, then you know it's time to, then you have 30 seconds to prepare the end of your presentation.
Well, sharing our slides from your side, or should we do from our side?
I think your slides will be shown by the organizers of this. Isn't that right, Katarina?
Yes, we have them all piled up. So you have to say next slide, and I will move the slides. Again.
Pardon, I'm showing an interactive web page, so I need to have my control.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share the screen then. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes. Perhaps Susanne?
Yeah, I start now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Good luck.
Okay, thank you. So my name's Sue Charlesworth, and I'm representing the Waste Fuel Project. That is waste in the food, energy, water nexus using urban living labs. The project aim was to map and substantially reduce waste in the urban food, energy, water nexus across 3 continents, which is where the 4 urban living labs are located. We used obviously the circular economy concept, so that's illustrated on the right-hand side of this slide, where we've got food, energy and water in the left-hand circle with all the waste leaving the system. But what we would have liked to have done is to divert some of that waste and give it a second life, and then reduce those arrows that of the waste that we can't deal with, but they're smaller. Next slide, please. Oh, some of it's not come, and never mind. So these are the 4 living labs. And the first challenge that you can see at the top, the last one's disappeared, but never mind, was one of scale. So Sao Paulo is the largest, where the focus was on technology, transition management, and the selection of suitable policies to deal with sustainable food production in the Atlantic rainforest using agroecological techniques. The next one was Bristol. You'll hear more about that later. And that started with large-scale nutrient recovery in order to support small-scale local urban agriculture. But it did go on afterwards to deal with food waste. But as I say, you'll hear a bit more about that later. The Western Cape, so near Franschhoek, was bioremediation of a polluted river system that flowed through an informal settlement. And this cleaned water was used to irrigate small urban gardens, enabling the residents of the informal settlement to interact with the local markets. And then lastly, Rotterdam was a selection of small, very small entrepreneurs, which could be just a one person. But the problem there was this waste resource paradox, by which the waste itself became commodified. So for instance, if you're making shoes and bags out of mango skins, then the mango skins become more valuable than the fruit itself. So scale was a problem, was comparing across these urban living labs. Their approaches were entirely different. The few focus was entirely different across these, although there was more focus on food and water and I've forgotten what, oh, and dealing with policymakers was really difficult, particularly in terms of a certain global pandemic. I finished.
Thank you, well done, just on time.
Let's see, and now we have a level of complication because we're going to show a video here from Pia. Let's see. And then I have to.
So she's probably being clever and used the double time, you know. So no, I'm just joking.
So let's see. I think this is. Let's see how I'm going to do this. Sorry about that. See, I think it's this, and then it's. See this, and then share sound, share. Oh no.
Do you need help, Katarina?
Creating interfaces is about the creation of interfaces regarding the urban food water energy nexus in different ways. What I would like to
we can't
highlight
see
here
the
are the tools we
You
developed
can't see
aiming at
it.
a better
no, we can see the video.
We
the
see your
complex
laptop.
All right. All right. So let's see. I'm doing it again. I'm trying here. Share screen.
interfaces is about the creation of
now?
interfaces regarding the urban food water energy nexus in different ways. What I would like to highlight
It's
here
very
are the
small.
tools we developed aiming at a better
It's small.
understanding of the complex urban nexus and about initiating local communication and cooperation. But a central aspect and result is also the process in itself. These tools were developed in a co-creation process in 3 urban living labs with stakeholders and citizens in Tulsa, Lubsk, and Wilmington. We started by exploring the food-water energy nexus in the 3 cities, creating story maps, providing an in-depth exploration of the local natural and built environment, development, socioeconomic characteristics, and the local governance structures, and by discussing in local workshops with stakeholders and citizens. We developed a citizen science and communication tool in a co-creation software development process based on a VQ open source framework. In Tulsa, local food producers can feed in their offer and citizens can find information and local food-related data regarding environmental impacts. An aim is to promote local food consumption and support local producers. In Lubsk, the tool was developed with and for local kindergartens, focusing on food provided in kindergartens and its impacts and perceptions. But for the understanding of the urban food water energy nexus, data as such is not enough. This is where visualizations play an important role. These are often quite complex and overwhelming. For the creation of visualizations people can relate to, we designed an iterative co-creation process. This was realized under the lead of the team in Warwick, integrating data collected through the tool, interviews, and different existing databases. This image shows the prototype developed in Lubsk for kindergartens. It makes parents and staff better understand the impacts of everyday food choices and the connections with energy and water. Thank you. We would be happy to get any feedback. Please also contact us in case of questions.
So then it's the next quick project. Are you ready?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sean Cullen. I'm a lecturer in future urbanism at Queen's University Belfast. I was part of the M-NEX team, which was made up of partners from 6 cities around the world whose contexts provide unique social, environmental, economic, political, and spatial challenges. As a team of architects, urbanists, engineers, and ecologists, we were interested in how new designs for these cities could be centered and appraised from the perspective of the food, water, energy nexus, and what solutions might unlock new opportunities and lifestyles for citizens in the future. Through a series of traveling workshops and living labs in each city, we undertook work through 3 themes. These were design, evaluation, and engagement. And the following slides show some of the design outputs for each city. Next slide, please. We were particularly interested in how architects and urban designers, next slide, please. Yep. In how architects and urban designers use decision support tools in the design process. And the team developed a tool called the View Print Evaluation Platform that enabled us to assess how a design intervention alters the food, water, energy impact of an area and its residents versus business as usual. The team iteratively tested the tool through a range of design scales, from the alteration of a rooftop in Amsterdam to host a greenhouse. Next slide, please. To the adaptation of typical housing typologies in Belfast, like the terrace row, which seeks to intensify food growing through a series of spatial interventions. This also enabled the teams to understand the trade-offs in relation to local food production and possible future dietary pathways. Next slide, please. As tested by the Qatar University on their Doha campus, as well as how to adapt home typologies and resident lifestyles from an energy perspective. Next slide, please. As tested, visualized, and assessed by the Tokyo team. Next slide, please. In Detroit, the team tested large-scale urban adaptations to improve food access. At Eastern Market, the proposal considered higher density in the city that shortened distances for residents to access fresh foods, reducing travel often undertaken by car, and new built forms that were more energy efficient. Next slide, please. While at Recovery Park, a large urban industrial greenhouse campus is proposed to create working opportunities for individuals in recovery. Site stormwater retention virtually eliminates loads to centralize wastewater treatment, while a range of housing types infill existing areas of vacancy, with new public spaces engaging with constructed wetlands. By increasing the density of the neighborhoods, the respective food, water, energy demands for the area were increased, but notably, there was a reduction in the per capita demand. What we found from the project was that urban design attempts to make things better in ways that are effective rather than efficient, as design considers the interaction of the social, cultural, environmental, economic, and political dimensions along with resource use. For design practitioners to utilize the few Nexus thinking, it requires easy to use and access information as offered by our evaluation platform to facilitate, empower, and enable spatial decision-making. Thank you for your time and attention. Our 10-minute presentation later today will go into more detail about the development of the FewPrint evaluation platform. Thank you.
Thank you. Impressively short and concise. Thank you. So.
Hi, my name is Bernd Klauer. I'm with the Helmholtz Center for Environmental Research in Leipzig. I'm representing the FUSE project. FUSE stands for Food, Water, Energy for Urban Sustainable Environments, and FUSE is led by Stanford University, but it's a little too early for them now. So that's why I'm representing them. So FUSE links integrated system modeling and stakeholder participation to assess potential solutions to food, water, energy problems. Next slide, please. Next slide, yes, okay. And also next slide, there's missing some information. Next, still, no, back, sorry. Large cities worldwide are increasingly suffering from severe resource supply problems. In FUSE, we selected 2 case studies representing archetypes of Nexus problems from the Global South. Amman is characterized by extreme water scarcity, exacerbated by climate change and population growth. In Pune, India, there's a large urban-rural divide and unequal distribution of income and wealth. Next. In Pune, we interviewed more than 800 households to learn about their Nexus challenges. Half of the, next, please. Half of the households claim that they suffer from water problems. That is intermittent pipe supply, no access to pipe network at all, low quality of water, and so on and so on. They adopt various coping strategies, such as water storage, private and public wells, treating their own water and buying bottled water. People may take long trips to get their water. These coping strategies consume energy and they cost time, a lot of time. So to get water, households spend the time equivalent of 4 to almost 14% of their monthly income, which is immense. And not surprisingly, the poorer households spend comparably more time. Next, please. Same is true for Jordan. Next. Next. The poor households suffer most. You can see this here. In this result of our hydroeconomic model agent system model, you see that 90% of the low-income households will have less than 40 liters of water per day by the end of the 21st century in our business as usual scenario. One cause of this is a massive overexploitation of fossil groundwater, especially through unsustainable agriculture. Our forecasts also show that this catastrophic situation can only be averted if massive supply enhancements as well as demand-side measures are taken. Next slide, please. One consequence of the undersupply of the population is that they try to get water from alternative sources, particularly from tanker water. We have succeeded for the first time in estimating the amount of the illegal water withdrawals distributed by tankers. This sensational result has extremely interested the experts at the Jordan Ministry for Water and Irrigation. The illegal tanker water market exceeds by more than 10 times the legal market. And another fact about this nexus, the energy consumption of tanker water is significantly higher than even desalinated water because energy is necessary for transportation. So to sum up, we have seen that people in Amman and Pune suffer a lot from supply problems with Nexus resources. The FIRST project proposes several concrete policy options for a more sustainable use of food, water, and energy. Thank you.
Thank you.
And sorry that only half of the information was on the slides.
Oh, there's a problem with translation of slides.
Yes.
I think. Yeah. So, but I guess that will be able, you'll be able to fix that for the presentations afterwards, but maybe, yeah. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so it's the next project.
Hello, my name is Andrea Valencia from the University of Central Florida, representing the ENLARGE project. And the project we focused on was on the food, energy, water, waste nexus analysis for a case study in Florida. Next slide, please. Next, please. So the focus was to broaden on the food, energy, water, and focus on the waste sector as well, focusing on circular economy and having a closed loop system. Next, please. The area of interest is Orlando, Florida, where we focused on climate impact with regards to extreme rainfall events and droughts, and we presented the implementation of an FEWW system with 3 cases. Next, please. And we implement centralized and decentralized systems with regards to water, wastewater treatment, municipal landfill, urban agriculture, low impact developments for stormwater reuse, and renewable energy. Next, please. Here we have, so the interactions we have are with regards to the plant, which uses various types of biofuel. Uses fuels such as landfill, natural gas, and coal. And we also have 2 reclamation facilities and the various urban farming managed by the East End Urban Market and the Orange County Landfill. Next, please. The other reason why we focused on the Nexus is because the Orlando area is demarcated as being areas with food desert and low access, which also has a low income community. Next, please. So we have here the 4 components of the food, energy, water, and waste sector. Next, please. And the goal is to have the interrelationship with regards to food, waste, energy, food, water, energy, waste to food, water to food. Next, please. So for a brief description, we decided to start off with the 4 components as a base condition. The second case, we wanted to see the impact on urban agriculture and how this can enhance food sustainability by doubling the area. Next, please. In the third case, we wanted to see the inclusion of having additional renewable energy, such as proposing an additional solar power plant. And for the 4th case, this ties in the climate change impact by adding stormwater reuse system, so we can see if we can reduce the consumption from the potable water demand. Next, please. And we use a system dynamics model to portray the energy flows for food, energy, water. Next, please. So we use some sustainability indicators to help further give insight to the system dynamic results. Next, please. Here we have a visualization of the flows. Next, please. And lastly, the goal is to be able to understand which case scenario was the best for the implementation of the FEWW system by using decision-making analysis with regards to cost, benefit, risk assessment, and the sustainability indicators. And this was to help with the stakeholder in decision-making. And then to finalize, we found that, for example, the landfill gas was enough to supply the irrigation demand from the energy, so take away from the energy grid. Also, if we include the stormwater reuse, we're able to take away or not decrease the use from the reclaimed water, which we can input this towards the recharge of wetlands and aquifers. Yes, and this would be all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Then it's time for the next project. Are you ready to? I think it's Ali.
Yes, I am ready. Hi, everybody. I put something in the logo of our project, but nevertheless. So my name is Ali Hanun. I'm from Hausa Institute of Technology, and I've coordinated the project SUNEX and representing our team to share with you a few of our results. SOIX, as you can see, has been implemented by 6 partners, and we have developed strategies for water energy in 4 different cities, 3 in Europe, Vienna, Doha, Bristol, and 1 is in the Gulf countries. And we work interdisciplinarily. We applied actually quantitative but also qualitative approaches. So that means we developed also a modeling framework, and at the end, we strive to formulate sustainable food, water, energy strategies by the 4 considered pilots. Next, please. Next slide. So you can see that the objectives is clear from very beginning. We want to support decision making in formulating sustainable urban food, water, energy strategy that is very suitable for the activities we are doing, especially by AIT, because we are about digital resilient cities. And we want also, beside that, to empower the Nexus concept, because all cities, as you know, they are working in silo, and that is now time to think in such interdisciplinary approach. For that, we have established what you see as a kind of co-creation, stakeholder-supported approach, where we start from the city vision, whatever, and we try to align our approach with the selected SDGs, but also with the several smart city frameworks, if they are available, like in the case of Vienna. And starting from this, we try to cover both demand and supply sides for the 3 systems. And we have picked out with a very new so-called key nexus indicators approach, certain main indicators where we can see the intersection between the 3 systems. And this approach has been applied for the 4 cities. Next, please. Next slide. So this was our approach. Don't need to go through that, but there will be, I think, in 1 hour more time to share with you more insights about what we have established. Very impactful or very meaningful was this monitoring framework, together with the modeling framework we have established. You can see here that 5 of these SDGs were in focus, and we have also generated a lot of new assignment, how we could align our outputs with the already extracted indicators from these 3 SDGs. Next slide, please. So you can see here, just looking to the outcomes, to the main outcomes, to the strategies, to the scenarios, we have established 2 scenarios for each cities, business as usual and sustainable development scenarios. We have came up based on these results with the so-called policy guidelines supported by these key nexus indicators. And we have also developed a completely new framework to model the 3 systems and harness existing synergy between them. Next slides, please. So those are selections of the results. I don't think to go through that, but we can see that with these 2 we have established, we are also in the position not only to project the energy, food and water demand on supply, but also we calculated the CO2 emission, mainly energy-related CO2 emission, and also we have addressed the challenge how cities can manage increasing the local food production. What are the indications for food and for energy and water? That was an issue we have addressed and also quantified during this exercise of strategy formulations. I think I will stop here because I'm looking to the time, and there will be time in the afternoon, I mean 1 hour, to share a little bit more with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ali, and thank you all for your presentations. I think that was the last one for this. No, do we have more? I think this was the last one.
Oh, we have one who's going to go live, I think.
Yeah, that's me, Thomas Spiegelhalter. Thank you.
Good.
Let me start the stopwatch here. All right, my name is Thomas Spiegelhalter, and I'm the PI for Crunch Miami. I'm also the co-director of the Environmental Technologies Lab and Structures Lab at Florida International University in Miami. And I'm also a licensed town planner, engineer, and architect with offices in here in Miami Beach, in Berlin, and in Freiburg. So practice is pretty much here involved with research and vice versa. Important is to know that this Crunch project is based on the Miami metropolitan area of about 6 million people. And to deal with all the parameters and algorithms to process the data mining, we had to shrink down to the city of Miami Beach and the city of South Miami to develop a digital twin, because the digital twin here helps us to manage better the data input. So if you scroll to the webpage, you will then see that the Crunch participating countries are US, United Kingdom, Netherlands, Taiwan, Sweden, and Poland. And what we did is here, when you want to know more about the team, you just click here, team and research. We have been presented our work at the Venice Biennale, at the ICAT Berlin, at the International Union of Architects in Rio de Janeiro, and other places. But I want to show you today the beta version of the integrated decision tool for citizens and decision makers, which is pretty much GIS based and runs on artificial intelligence with cloud modeling, open access, and algorithms that are specifically have been developed for this project. And we have to see this 3D model as such that we created a baseline for 2018 to integrate energy, food, water, demography, property, etc., facilities, land use, road, and pandemic. And we can run these simulations based on sea level rise and hurricane impacts, because remember, most of these low-lying areas are impacted by sea level rise. And you see what's happening here and how it has an impact on property values, facilities, service infrastructures collapsing, land use, etc. So this is pretty much a nutshell. It's also a partisan tool to challenge corrupt developers and politicians in the Miami area that are not caring at all about the communities. So with this tool, we can do ad hoc analysis and go into the communities and deliver counter data and counter analysis. This is very important also as a participatory democratic partisan tool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well on time. And you were also clever at having your time, keeping your time. So all your interested.
Stopwatch.
Yeah.
She's using stopwatch, right?
So that's very good. But we have some time because we actually have like 11 minutes before the session stops, and they don't want us to go back into the plenary, or I mean, we don't want to merge the groups as yet. So if any of you want to say something or comment on each other's presentations, or any of the audience would like to ask questions already on the projects, so please, the floor is open for that.
I could have a question directed to the last presentation from Thomas.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Have you addressed the whole, I mean, you have taken one case study in Miami, So have you addressed the whole city building and mobility, or the focus was just on energy demand and
Yes,